I found horrible photos of my wife with a young handsome guy. She claims she did it as a favor for her friend.
Hello everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Peter and this is the Freshmaster channel.
Me and my girlfriend met when we were on a work trip, conference together. Wife, 30F, did a very sexy boudoir shoot as a favor to her photographer friend and me, 30 meters. I accidentally found out she did some of the pics with another guy, early 20s. I honestly don't know what to do. This is such a complicated issue, so I will do my best to make it complete but short. My wife is great friends with one of our city's high-end wedding photographers named Gina, the 60s or so. She is supremely talented and also a nice person. We have gotten huge discounts on everything from wedding to baby to family pictures. My wife recently lost all her baby weight and became really fit by following a low-carb diet and doing a natural movement workout plan. Gina asked her to come do a boudoir shoot for her so she could put my wife's pictures on her website as an example of fit, sexy mom. We had many discussions and I was all for it right from the beginning because it's hot. Wife was worried about employers, friends and family seeing them, but eventually she figured she'd worked hard. There would be no nudity, and what the hell. It's very important to know we talked about this nightly for at least a week and went over every eventuality, and I thought everything was on the table. So the pictures are stunning. Gina hired a spectacular makeup artist and my wife looks like a supermodel. I mean, they are spectacular pictures, minimal Photoshop too. When the pics went up on the site, Gina sent me a very classy hardbound book of pictures with a note. "Thank you for being so cool with this. It's one of my favorite things I've ever done." Important to note the timeline here. Pics taken in May. Pics went on website in late June. I got the book this week. Wife is out of town with baby to visit her mom and dad. Late Wednesday I got an email from Gina which basically said Happy 4th. I wanted you to go through these digital proofs to see if there's any others you like. It's actually a link to a secure site where I have a username and password. So I logged in and all the first series of pictures were variations on ones I'd already seen. Lingerie, implied nude, gym wear and the like. Then it got into a series of full nude pics which I was like, awesome. Why didn't these make it into my book? When I clicked the next page I could clearly see that in the thumbnails there were two people. I opened one and it's my wife in sort of an embrace that looked like the cover of a romance novel. The guy also looked like a model and was super ripped. With these I was like, okay, but with all the discussions we had, why didn't she say there would be a guy there? I'd say that series is 50 pictures long with each one getting more and more risque. My wife ends up going from like a business suit to just her panties. The guy has his underwear on in all of them, but in certain pics he's laying on top of her, to look like he's kissing her neck. His hands are definitely on her breasts. He's holding her from behind with his hand just out of shot, but implied he's to touching her crotch. By far the worst is the last picture where it's just a picture of her butt with his face and the top of her thong and his teeth sort of pulling it away from her body. I looked at the pictures absolutely stunned for 30 minutes. I emailed Gina saying basically, Gina, what is this? This is way more than I thought it was going to be. She has not replied and I tried to log back in and my password has been changed and Gina won't send me another one. I tried to call my wife Burr, she hasn't answered and says she's too busy to talk. I texted I had questions about what went on at the photoshoot and she replied at first, "Sexiness. You like?" Now she's not responding at all, so my guess is Gina told her about the slip up, and she doesn't know what to tell me. I'm lost, like literally lost. My wife had so many chances to tell me this was the plan if it was that all along. I don't even think I would have said an outright no, but just asked for some boundaries, like don't have the guy's lips near your ass or second base. If my wife didn't know and Gina sprung this on her, why didn't she say no or even enforce her own boundaries? It looked like she was having a great time in the pics. If these are the ones Gina accidentally sent me, are there more? Do they get like literal hardcore? My wife is probably panicking as well right now, as I assume Gina is. Neither will speak with me. Wife comes home Sunday morning. How do I even begin to have this conversation with her? What do I say when I see her? We have reached the end of the story. Let's listen to some of the comments by our Reddit listeners. Comment 1. For the first time on this sub I am at a loss as to what to say to you. This was super not cool. There's no way your wife didn't know there would be another guy ahead of time. As your friend is a professional photographer and I would assume goes about her job in a professional manner. I wouldn't doubt she intentionally didn't tell you. As for the reasons why she did it in the first place, I am also unsure. All I can say is that you and her need to have a serious talk and figure out what you're going to do about this. This was a major trust violation and I can definitely see why you're upset. I would be too. Comment 2. The fact they aren't talking to you speaks volumes. Do not believe you're going to hear the whole truth and nothing but the truth. The lack of communication at this point should prevent any belief you have in what they decide to tell you. I can't imagine going through this while kept in a damn silo. Best of luck and I hope you find out enough of the truth to make a good decision. Comment 3. Your wife definitely knew everything the shoot was going to entail and kept it from you. Gina probably didn't know that you were in the dark about it, and your wife told her just to put pictures of her in your book. I would definitely want to know who the guy is, what contact was made, and did the guy see her nude? It seems like the answer to that is probably yes. Sorry you're in this crappy situation, and it's even crappier that your wife won't even face you and talk about it. Update. I got tons of differing advice on the last post, so I guess I will on this one as well and may get ripped apart. Anyways, so I've been sweating this since I first saw the pictures I wasn't supposed to see on Wednesday. Almost zero contact with my wife. Part of this was she was busy. Part of it was because they were at a lake and part of it she admits now as she was avoiding the conversation. Wife decided to come home early so 0.3 hours or so ago now I got a call from her saying, "I'm on my way home, we have a lot of talking to do. Can you please get us Jimmy John's because I'm not stopping to eat and I'm already starving." I was like seriously WTF but avoided the temptation to get into it with her on the phone which I'm glad of. I got her sandwich, she got home an hour later, we put our son to bed and then got into it. As best I can, this is her side of the story. Gina, photographer, had mentioned that if my wife was interested she would love to see how she shot with another friend of hers who was a guy. Wife, her name is Nikki, said that she was not at all interested because she was nervous enough about the boudoir, fitness gear. She arrived, had a glass of white wine, relaxed, did the makeup and she had a great time during the shoot and Nikki is the one who suggested she would like to do the full nude stuff. So they did that, it went really well and the conversation came up that maybe she'd like to try shooting with the male model. Nikki swears to me that he was not present but Gina was able to call him and he was able to be there in an hour. Nikki says it was a huge mistake not to call me but she said she was so in the moment that she didn't consider all the ramifications. So the dude shows up, he's 22, 6'3", amazing build and blah blah but Nikki says he was an absolute professional. So much so that all the fun she was having with the solo stuff went out the window because the guy was like literally just a living mannequin. When she was shooting solo there was dancing, laughing, jokes but with the guy it was like, put your hand here. Hold. Repeat. I said I saw some of the pictures and it didn't look like that at all. She said that there probably are also a few hundred of her looking absolutely terrified and ashamed that didn't make it into the proofs. At this point I demanded to see all of the pictures. Nikki logged into the secure site and there were 0.10 or so more past the original 50 and basically it went like a sequence from the guy pulling the underwear off with his teeth to her turning over, spreading her legs and ending with a shot of them from the side looking like he was taking her in the missionary position. I asked her to promise me there weren't more and it didn't go any further than that. She said it didn't, that the guy never even took of his underwear. I asked if it turned her on. She said in a physical sense of feeling skin on skin, it did turn her on, but on an emotional level she was terrified of what I would think and it was so businesslike there was nothing organic happening at all. I told her this was all so fishy because the shoot happened in May. She's had almost 6 weeks to tell me, maybe more. She says that she just couldn't find the words but was really working on it. The thing that's sort of gross is that our sex life has been amazing and I think the correlation is about when the shoot happened. I had attributed it more towards our son finally sleeping more than 3 hours at a clip but now I'm not sure. Part of me thinks she was seriously turned on by the whole thing and took that out on me. I told her I wanted her to swear to me that she doesn't know this guy from prior, hasn't kept in touch with him since and has no plans in the future. She said the guy actually brought his girlfriend with him to the shoot and she was a gorgeous volleyball player for the local university and she's pretty sure that he's not trading a 6'1" voluptuous volleyball player for a 30-year-old mother with an 13-month-old. I asked if the girlfriend actually watched the shoot. Nikki said the girl was in the room but sat and scrolled through her phone and seemed bored by the whole thing. I asked who else was in the room. She said it was just Gina and her assistant who held lights and such. After some surfing around Gina's main site and finding other things the guy had done for her, we were able to find his name and Facebook page, and he's a college student and certainly does appear to be dating a very attractive college volleyball player. I asked what Gina was going to do with those pictures because to me it was crazy that Nikki was initially hesitant to even take the boudoir shots because of people seeing her to taking what essentially appears to be soft core in less than a week. She said that Gina had no plans for the pictures at all, that they aren't getting posted anywhere. They were just done as test shots since Gina is getting back into boudoir and couples photo shoots and the male model owed her a favor, so it was a great time to practice. I asked why not ask me to do it. She said she didn't have a good answer for that. I asked obviously Gina already made one huge mistake sending them to me, or uploading them my private proof page. How do we know she's not going to make another huge mistake and send them to the wrong person and or forget that these were just practice, and sell them to someone? Nikki said we are just going to have to trust her. I told her that I was having a really hard time trusting anyone at the moment and I'd need more than that. Nikki said we could talk to Gina at the first opportunity on Monday. I said would she be willing to pay a lawyer to draw up a contract to keep Gina to her word. She said she would. Then we got into why the secrecy. She said that she felt so guilty after the whole thing that she had no idea how to tell me, and she knew she was going to see her family this week, so she had hoped to put off the subject. I asked her how she found out I knew. She said Gina had called her late Wednesday confessing that she had really screwed up. Nikki claims at this point she went into panic mode and pretty much was either crying or clamming up around everyone because she felt so ashamed. I told her how much the silence almost destroyed me, and she started crying and said she was so sorry for the whole thing and she knew she screwed up and basically begged me not to leave her, that she still had more love for me than she had anyone. I told her I believed that she loved me, believed that she was acknowledging her mistake, but that I felt like uber disrespected and emasculated by the whole thing. She said she could appreciate that and would do whatever she could to make it up to me. I told her I just wasn't sure what that meant yet. She started crying again and begged me not to make any rash decisions about leaving her. I said if she promised me she was telling the truth, and it seems like she is, then I'm not leaving her, but I'm not sure what normal will be for us now. She said she'd be willing to do whatever it takes or wait however long for me to figure it out. So that is where we are at. Our son woke up since his sleep schedule is messed up from the drive, so she's tending to him and I'm writing this. I guess aside from the lie of omission about the whole thing, she's never been dishonest with me before, so I believe her about all the details. I mean, they seem so crazy as to be true, and that a lie would be more like normal, if that makes any sense. But I still feel so gross about the whole thing. Another guy has touched my wife's breasts. My wife has felt another man's breath on her neck, and another guy has laid on top of her in several different positions. We can never be a married couple that can say we haven't been intimate with other people. I mean, I get the professionalism of it all, but it still happened. I have to learn to live with that. I don't know. That's the update. I don't know if there's more to say or not. Maybe there will be more, I don't know. I'm trying very hard to sort through my feelings and not having much luck. TLDR. Wife did a photo shoot that was supposed to be like boudoir and fitness shots for her photographer friend's website. Turned out there was also a guy involved in part of it. We've gone over what happened. I guess I believe her, but not sure what to make of the whole situation. Thanks for keeping my mind from going absolutely crazy over the last few days. Edit. It's about 6 a.m., totally sleepless night. So based on comments, as soon as my wife is up I'm going to ask to see her phone, tell her I'm contacting the girlfriend as she seems like the most neutral party who can verify some details. Independently contact Gina and ask to see every single photo that was taken that day. Those are by far the most common responses. I'll update when those two are done. Edit 2. Heard my wife crying in the next room on the phone, sort of eavesdropped and obvious it was Gina. Nicole was telling her that she needed to come over or send all the pictures from the whole shoot, and divorce was on the line and she had do this. Gina is on her way out of town to shoot a wedding today, but we are rushing over so she can open the studio before she leaves so we can go through all pictures. I told my wife I want to look at her phone on the way over. She said that was fine. She's packing up our son. We are taking our 1-year-old son to a studio where my wife was felt up in order to prove she didn't cheat on me. This has been the most ducked-in week of my life. I can update later after, but I'm worried this is exhausting to everyone else as it is to me. Edit 3. So here's where we are now. I looked at my wife's phone on the way over to Gina's studio. Basically on Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. there were 7 missed calls from Gina in my wife's phone. Gina also started a text conversation with her about that time that said, "Please call me, we really need to talk." I crossed that with my email to Gina which said, "This is way more than I thought it was going to be," which I sent it about 6:15 that same day. If you remember, in those 15 minutes I had tried to call my wife. She told me she was too busy to talk. I texted her I wanted to know what happened in the photo shoot. Apparently in those 15 minutes, Nikki still thought I didn't know because she texted back, "Zexiness, you like?" So clearly when Gina's texts start rolling in she knew that I knew. So their text conversation basically went like, "I really screwed up. Not you, lol. No, this is serious, please call. Can't now, what's wrong? I accidentally put those pics with Craig up on Thomas' preview site. What? Please listen, I need to know what you want me to do. I don't understand. Tommy just emailed me about the shoot not being what he thought it was. How would he know? You haven't told him yet? No, not planning on it for a while. Crap, that's what I thought. I'm still lost. He's seen the pics of you and Craig. Please follow me. What? How? I'm so sorry. I was rushing to get proofs out and I accidentally uploaded most of them to his preview site. What's most? I mean almost all. Oh my god, Gina. Oh my god. What do you want me to do? I'm out of town, I can't leave until Saturday. No, what do I do? I don't know. He's going to ducking flip out. I can change his password so he can't get back in. What if he copies them? Can't, copy protected. Please do that while I think. I'm so sorry, Nicole, this was a huge accident. Do you want me to talk to him? No, this better come from me, but I'm going to throw up. I don't know what to do. I'm so sorry. And that was pretty much the only communication between them, no other calls or anything. Gina texted her every day, "Are you okay?" type stuff, but Nick never responded. Nikki did text her that she was leaving Saturday morning but nothing else. So then we got to the studio. Gina was rushing around like crazy because she was driving 2 hours away to do a wedding. I asked her to please talk to me about what she was thinking, so she took like 5 minutes and said that she was so sorry. That the thoughts just got away from her and Nikki was doing such an amazing job, it seemed like a great idea at the time. I was at a loss for words, so I didn't ask any more questions. Gina set us up on her main computer and opened the file folder of every single one of Nikki's pictures from that day, including the ones not included in the proofs. I think it was exactly 13 pictures from everything. I scrolled through every image and got to the couple shots. I could very clearly tell that the mood had changed in the throwaway pictures from solo to couple. In all the solo shots Nick was smiling and laughing and having a good time even if the pic didn't turn out. But in the couple shots I could clearly see that she was nervous, she wasn't having fun, she was that same timid, almost annoyed face I've seen on her a million times. I'd say in the couple section it took 10 pictures to come up with one that looked halfway decent, where her face didn't look like she was being interrogated. And it got worse as she was more and more undressed. You can clearly see that she has a look of genuine disgust when the guy touches her breasts, and it takes a long time for her to make those shots work. There's also a little interlude where I guess Nikki went into the dressing room to compose herself, so Gina took similar shots. But with clothes on her, he was still in his underwear, with the guy and his girlfriend, and it's very obvious that they both have experience doing this sort of thing. You can also see that when Nick is coming out of the dressing room, Gina took pictures of her alone trying to get the spark back from the solo stuff, and in those pics you can see the girlfriend in the background looked bored as crap on her phone. After the break, Nikki seemed to be a little more relaxed, and that's where they go into him lying down on her back, which goes into the teeth thing and into the very suggestive stuff where it appears he's initiating sex. It takes an abrupt end, and then there's about a dozen shots of everyone who was present doing things like flipping the camera off, sticking their tongues out and that sort of thing. The weirdest one is of Nikki, in a bathrobe, and the girlfriend both hugging on the model with smiles on their faces. She says asked for that one because it just seemed like a cute shot for everyone to say, "We're all cool with each other." I was very careful to check the sequencing of the pics. Gina has them all numerically titled with date, a code for customer and location, then series number, and there wasn't a single picture missing, and it would have been an epic undertaking for Gina to rename 1,000 pics to eliminate ones that worse than I already saw, so I'm 99% convinced I saw everything. So now more than ever I'm convinced my wife is telling me the truth about what actually happened. I don't think there was cheating, or sex. Lots of people would consider what happened cheating. I think it was professional. I think it was spur of the moment when Nikki said she would like to try the couple stuff. The girlfriend was definitely there, so I see no reason to drag her into this. The things I'm still so uncomfortable with. Would she have ever really told me had Gina not accidentally shown me those pics? Why 6 freaking weeks? I think my wife was uncomfortable in the moment, but I think reflection allowed her to realize that she actually really enjoyed the experience. I'm more convinced of this than ever with that shot of her with a huge smile where she and the girlfriend almost look like they are members of a burgeoning harem dedicated to hot abs McCool. But having said that, I do think she was embarrassed by initiating the shoot and she was very scared what my reaction was going to be. But it says a lot that she didn't trust me to tell me. So that's where we are now. I guess I'm glad I got to see the pictures, but I don't know if it really cleared anything up. I think she's telling me a version of the truth that's mostly factual, but how the duck can I ever know? I'm not leaving her or divorcing her based on what I know now. Part of me is very happy for her that she had a good time. I'm not like the fun police or anything, but I still feel overall terrible about the whole thing. We have reached the end of the story. Let's listen to some of the comments by our Reddit listeners. We have reached the end of the story. Let's listen to some of the comments by our Reddit listeners. Comment 1. Why did they remove your access to the private website? Comment 2. So Gina sending the photos to you was a mistake? Were they ever planning on showing you them in the first place? Feeling like the extended radio silence was just a chance for them to get a story straight. Comment 3. Dude, it's great that she came home early to talk to you about it. I posted in your original thread about getting the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and I hope you got it. I'd be more inclined to think that she and Gina came up with the story. I'd be skeptical as hell since she didn't tell you of her own volition but only after Gina screwed up. Not a good sign at all, and the road back to trust is gonna be hell. After getting more details yesterday, I figured it was something like this and Gina K'd up royally. Any plans on what to do about that? Comment 4. So, in conclusion, your wife clearly felt uncomfortable about the shoot with the model, suggesting that she was coerced into it by Gina, at the last minute. But the text log suggests that your wife and Gina had already discussed the fact that you would find out, which means they knew it was the wrong thing to do, and planned on hiding it from you. So, piecing the two things from above, we can say this: Gina is a malign influence on your wife, goaded her into a photo shoot she didn't want to do, and then, presumably, when your wife articulated her guilt to Gina, Gina reassured her by saying, "Don't worry dear, Tommy will never find out." And then your wife decided that she'd eventually tell you, as is evident from these lines. You haven't told him yet? No, not planning on it for a while. Not saying your wife isn't at fault, but clearly she was manipulated by Gina. Forget about the discounts and the past your family has had with Gina. Make it clear to her that she's an evil BTCH who is responsible for this whole mess, and keep such a malign person away from you and your family. Just my 2c. Comment 5. So everyone could know, in a photoshoot there will be more than 60 pictures in the course of 1 to 2 hours, easily 200 to 300 pictures, and considering it was a shoot with multiple escalations and poses, I would say there definitely is that amount or more. Also, to get 50 good pictures she had to shoot a lot too, since normally 10% make the cut normally, so you need to get all the raw footage in person. You will also know if they deleted pictures or the quantity based on the name of the picture, since each carry its unique sequence number each picture is labeled with, and thus knowing if it is out of order you will know. I agree with everyone stating that she would have kept this lie going had Gina not made the mistake and continue lying to you or not telling you the truth, which is dishonesty. She's told you what you want to hear so far, and by now they must have their stories in sync, so you must place your moves according. They don't expect you to know about asking for the raw files, but she will be capable of saying it's so long ago that she doesn't know where they are, which is problem. Maybe your wife's email could have pictures since it's easier to hide and send large files instead of the phone. I personally don't recommend couples looking through each other's phones, but your wife is not to be trusted much, and honestly be tactful, because you need to get to the bottom of this to discover if there is any infidelity, and will need to reflect if you will remain married to her. Comment 6. Okay. From a woman's perspective, I think you have every right to be hurt, disgusted, and emasculated. She hid this from you and then ignored you when you called her out. Here's what doesn't sit well with me. She didn't apologize outright. She had time to think of a story or excuse while she ignored you and also drove home. She is putting a lot of blame on Gina. If she was really a good friend and professional photographer, she wouldn't have put your wife in that position Gina knew you didn't know. Or tried to warn your wife. That is very sneaky on their part. One can't tell you what to do with your relationship. If my partner did this to me, I would personally leave him. But I'm not married and don't have a kid, so I can only empathize so far. I would suggest, though, that if you stay in this relationship, Gina should not be a part of your wife's life, and I think that's fair. If what your wife said is true, she is a horrible friend. She pressured your wife into an uncomfortable situation and ignored her discomfort. She also put your relationship in jeopardy. That's really the only advice I have, but I wish you the best op. The best decision is the one that will be better for you in the long run. Me and my girlfriend met when we were on a work trip, conference together.